Hello and welcome back. Today we will be continuing our journey on learning on how to integrate Waha API and n8n workflows. What we will be building today is an AI receptionist for our diagnostic lab. That is called that AI agent Stella. Now what our agent Stella would do is she would be getting requests from our WhatsApp number, enquiries about where the lab is. So she would be referring a Google sheet having the facts, and she would also take in the appointment details, essentially the client name, their phone number, and probably add a sequence number just to keep a record. On a later part, on a later session, what I plan to do is to actually combine this flow with the actual AI pathologist, right? So the receptionist takes in the client's details and then asks the client to send in the lab reports to the pathologist, who would then go through the lab reports and send in a detailed diagnostic report. So that second part is for a later session. Let's do the first part now and let us get right into it. Before that, okay, a prerequisite for this video is that you actually go and watch how we set up a Waha API for WhatsApp and integrate it with n8n. I have done a detailed session which I'll be linking in the video description below. So do check that out. Now let's get started. I have my Waha API up and running on localhost 3000. My local n8n instance on Docker desktop is also up and running. So the first thing I need to do is to actually create a webhook. So just let me search for webhook right there, and I change this to post. I'm not going to do any authentication, so I'll leave it just as it is, and I'll just copy paste this URL, test URL, and I will configure my Waha API. So on my Waha dashboard, I click on the configurations icon under sessions. I scroll down to webhooks and I just update the webhook. In your case, if you do not have a webhook available, which you probably will not if you're doing it for the first time, right? Just create a new webhook using this plus symbol there, right? And once you have pasted the URL, make sure you change the local host to n8n. For the events, make sure you've just selected messages there and you do an update. Wait till this thing actually goes to working, the status, and you're all set to go. Now let us test this out on the WhatsApp number that I've configured in Waha API. So just let me send a hi message and let's see if it gets picked up. Yes, it has got picked up. Now let us continue setting up n8n from here. So just let me double click this and you can see we have got the message. All right, just let me pin this, okay, so that I don't have to keep on executing it again and again. So you can just pin this message, and this is what will be picked up for our testing purposes till we actually create the whole flow. So this is a good pro tip here. Just pin this data to make it available for your development purposes. This is especially useful if you're doing something that involves a cost overhead. So for example, if you're using an AI agent to generate the response, you would not actually want to keep running it again and again till you complete your development workflow. You run it once, you get the test data, then you use that test data for building a subsequent nodes, right? Here, there's no cost involved, at least till this point, but however, just for the sake of convenience, I'm just going to pin this data here. We'll unpin it later, so don't worry about that. So let me just close this and let's set up our next node, which is our AI agent node, right? So just let me search for AI agent and just Boom, there you go. And what we need here is the prompt user message. We'll just copy it from the webhook note right there. So if you scroll down, you should be seeing our hi message, which is here. So I'll just drag this down to here. Okay, I'll just delete this. And it does not allow me to do this because I am still on the connected chat trigger node for source for prompt. Actually, I have to change it to define below. And now if I just click on expression, this will allow me to actually drag and drop this. Okay, there you go. And you can see that the result is high, which is what we want. The next thing we need to do is to actually set up the agent behavior. For that, go to options, go to add option, and just click on system message. This is where you'll be defining how you want your agent to behave, right? So I have prepared a prompt for this for Stella, right? And essentially I'll just read the first two lines and I'll just scroll it down slowly so that you can have a look. Pause the video if you want to just go through the whole prompt here. So role, you are Stella, the warm, professional, and efficient front desk receptionist for Pathfinder Diagnostic Laboratory. So I've named my diagnostic laboratory Pathfinder. Your goal is to assist clients with their inquiries, register the details, and collect necessary medical documents. So, tone and personality, warm and welcoming, empathetic, efficient, data sources and tools. So, you have access to a Google Sheet named Stella. I'll come to this with which has two tabs: a FAQ, which contains common questions, answers, and the support mobile number; a client record, which is essentially a registry for a client sheet. Now, these are two tabs within our Google Sheet. And the operational workflow is you greet the user warmly, listen to the query, search the fact sheet for an answer. Phase 2 is the client registration. Phase 3 is the document collection, which actually we will not be doing today, right? So we will just be setting up the receptionist workflow. The actual document collection workflow, we'll do it in a later session there. And I'll just give an example in interaction there. Just move my video up so that you can have a better look. So feel free to pause this video and go through the prompt if you are so inclined. So I'll just copy paste the whole thing. Okay, so I'll do a control A, control C, and I'll go to my system message here and I'll copy this there. Done. Now I just need to add my chat model and my memory, right? So let me add my chat model. Again, I'll just move my video to the bottom and just let me search for OpenAI. You can use any chat model, right? Doesn't matter. I'll just use OpenAI since that's the flagship there. I've already set up my OpenAI account. If you do not have it, do go and create one. You need an API key. All this has been done before, so I'm not going through those steps again and again. But I'll just give you a hint, okay? If you're doing it for the first time, right, what you'll be seeing here is create new credentials, and you just click on that and you need to provide an API key and just save it, right? That's how you do it. So I will keep editing and I will not create this. Right, I'll use my existing account, and the model I'll just use is GPT 4.1. If you've configured your authentication details or API key correctly, you should see a list of OpenAI models. I'm just going to use 4.1 mini because this is not going to do any research. This is just a receptionist. It's just basic chat, just checking a fact sheet, updating the client records, etc. So you don't need some heavyweight agents to do this. Other things, I'll keep it as it is. Use responses API, which is cool. So I'll close this, right? And our chat model is ready. Now let's set up the memory. We need the memory, and the simple memory would do. Why we need the memory? Because this is a chat agent. It needs to remember your conversation. If you do not give it a memory, it will not remember what was the prior conversation you had with it, right? So each text you send it would be treated as an entirely new conversation. You do not want that. You want to simulate a human interaction, so you need to give it a memory. I've given it a simple memory, and now you need to just give a session key, right? So let us give it a session key. Again, you have to define the session key below, and it has to be unique. Okay, the session key, and I'll just select from. I'll increase the context window length. So this is essentially the number of to and fro conversations you want to have with your AI agent. So I'll just make it 15. This should do fine. With that, we have set up our memory, right? So we have a simple memory setup. And now what we need to do is give our AI agent access to our Google Sheets. Remember, so if you remember our prompt, we had actually said that you would have access to Google Sheet named Stella with two tabs, FAQ and Client Rep. And this is what we need now to give access to for our AI agent. So let's do that. So I have created a Google Sheet named Stella, and this is a fact sheet, just some simple FAQs. So what is the lab name and address? I've just given a made up name, a made up address. Pathfinder Labs, 311 Sector Hino, Doronda Ranchi. Office lab timing 6 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. all days, rate of consultation, contact number, speak to a support staff, right? Very simple FAQ. And I also have a client record tab, right, which has the consultation number, date slash time, the client name, the client phone number, which is currently empty. And this is what I want my AI agent Stella to update. So Stella will be updating this tab here, and she'll be reading from this tab here. So it's a dual purpose sheet. Now let's get this all set up. So I'll click on the plus symbol here and just search for Google Sheets tool. So it already brings up my previous credential. If you do not know how to create a Google OAuth credential to connect with your Google services, I will be sharing the video link in the description below. So I have done a session previously on how you can set this up. Just check it out. The tool description, I'll just say set automatically. Resource sheet within the document. Operation is get rows. I want to get the FAQ. Right? That's the first thing I need to do. In the document, if I set it up correctly, this should bring up a list of Google documents that I have, sheets I have, and right there I have Stella. So I'll just choose Stella, and within that document Stella, I'll choose the sheet. Okay, list is fine. So it should have two things, the FAQ and the client record tabs. So I'll just select FAQ here, and we are done with the first tool. Now let us set up the second tool, which is the client rec, update the client rec. Same thing I'll repeat. I'll just search for Google Sheets tool, select that, and now let's configure this. So my credential, I'm using the same credential. Tool description is set automatically. Resources sheet within the document. Operation, however, is update row. Okay, so this is what we want. Sorry, this is not update row, because update row is essentially something that's already there. We need to actually append a row. So we are appending a row. We are not going to update an existing row, right? So we are creating a new row. So it's append row, not update row. Sorry for that. And from the document, you choose from the list, right? And again, it's Stella, and the sheet, again, it's list. Choose the client record. on the mapping column mode. Okay, make sure you have the map each column manually set up, right, which will bring up the different columns that are there in the sheet. So I'll show you what I mean by that. Right. So I go to the client record, you have a consultation number, your date, time, your client name, your client phone number. These are the four columns that I want to update or append in n8n terms, right? And this is what is being shown up here. Consultation number, date, time, client name, client phone number, right? So you could have a fixed value here, you could give an expression, but I'll just say let the model define this parameter. So it's clever enough to actually understand what should the values be that goes into this part here, right? This is just to show you how powerful and cool this tool is. And I think we are done, right? So just let me now rename this notes a bit. This looks a little bit messy. So I named this AI agent Stella. Okay, so I just need to change the name here, and I'll name this node. Okay, I'll name this as FAQ. Okay, right, and I'll name this as client rec. That makes it. I'll move my video a bit here, right? Just decluttering things. Okay. Now finally what we need to do is to just add the send message node. For that we'll just select, okay, my video is causing an issue, right? So I'll just say HTTP request. Okay, this should be a post. The URL should be Waha colon 3000 slash API slash send text camel cases. Again, if you do not know how to do this, just check out my previous video linked in the description below. Okay, authentication would be a generic credential type. I'll just select header auth. Okay, so I already defined this, quite a few auths there. So I just already predefined this. It automatically picks this up. If you do not know how to do this, again check out my previous videos there. And I'll just say send body. So this will be JSON, specify body is using JSON, and the JSON field. Again, all of this I've actually explained it quite a bit in detail in my previous videos. Again, do check that out. It is a prerequisite. Okay. Right, so we are done here. And I'll just rename this also. Let me rename it to send reply. Now let us test this out. So I'll just do execute workflow. Since I'd already pinned the data, yep, I've got the reply. Let me unpin the data now. Okay, so I'll just unpin this. Right, and we will test this out again. So just to avoid clicking on the execute workflow time and again, what I'll do is I'll just click on the publish here, and I'll just name this Stella. Okay, I can just add some, I'll describe the changes if I wanted. I'll just publish it. What this allows me to do is to actually avoid clicking on the execute workflow, but a drawback is you won't see that spinning thing happening, right? So this happens all in the background right there. So this flow, but this is much more easier to test it out. So if you publish it, but before you actually try this out, what you also need to do is make sure you go here and you copy the production URL and you update your Waha API there. So I'll just copy this. I'll show you how to do that. So go to Waha API dashboard and click on the configuration icon here under sessions. It will bring you up to this page here. Scroll down to webhooks and update the webhooks URL, right? So I'll just update this with the new URL and I'll just change this to n8n. I'll just do an update. That's it. Hopefully now everything should work. So let me just send a message. So I type in hi. Yeah. So I've got a response. Hello, welcome to Pathfinder. I'm Stella. How may I assist? Do you have any information or questions? I'll ask, what are your lab timings? So this should pick it up from the fact sheet. Yeah. Our lab times are 6 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. Do you have any other questions? Yes, I'll ask, where is your lab located? So remember, all of this, it's taking from the fact sheet that we're given it as a tool. Okay. Yeah, just picked up that from the FAQ sheet. Now let me see. Okay, I would like a diagnostic report done. Great. To get you started with the diagnostic report, may I have your full name and telephone number for our records? And just to show you, okay, so where was it here? So I wanted to update the client record in the next flow and the facts that it picked up, okay, the address, the office timings, everything was actually picked up from the FAQ sheet. The client record is currently empty and I want it to, whatever the client sends, whatever I send it, I want it to update the client records. I want to update the consultation number, the date, time, the client record, client phone number. The consultation number will start from 1 as I've instructed it to. That is what I expect to see here. So let us give it a name, right? So I'll give who, don't ask me what what that is. I'll just give it a number, right? I'll give it a number, right? Telephone number for our records. Let's see if it updates the sheet. What response it brings back. Okay, thank you, Baba, who have registered you now. To assist you further, could you please upload your medical reports, so prescription, so we can proceed. Now this is the second part, right, that I'll do in a later session where we actually upload multimedia documents. So we'll upload an image, we'll upload a PDF, any document through Waha API, and we'll WhatsApp it, and this will be picked up by the n8n agent by our pathologist AI, and they will send back a detailed diagnostic report on whatever it finds, or its recommendations essentially. Let us check out the client record sheet, and yeah, the consultation number, date, time, client number, client phone number, it has updated it correctly. How cool and brilliant is that? Now, this was a very simple workflow that we created using Waha API, WhatsApp, and n8n, right? So it's, if you use your imagination, there's no limit to what you can create. And I'll give you one more example before we go. So what I've done here is I've created a biryani delivery service, an AI agent who takes orders from clients regarding the type of biryanis they want delivered to their location. So let me just show you this. So here's a Google sheet named Choose Biryani Delivery. Okay. So it is a delivery service, and it has a fact question regarding various questions about the takeaway policies, what are the holidays, what's the support, what's the payment methods, what's the refund policy, restaurant address, etc., etc. It has a menu which primarily consists of different types of biryanis there, the price, and you have your salad, your lassi, your lemonade, tea, coffee, right? So your normal biryani delivery service, and then you have a tab, an orders tab, which contains the order number, customer name, customer phone number, items order, the total amount, and the customer address. The AI agent is supposed to update this sheet right here, and it needs to refer to the menu and the FAQ to take orders. So I'll just run it to give you an idea of the different imaginative and fun things you could create with such flows. So this is the flow essentially, very similar to the flow or the stellar receptionist flow that we saw a couple of minutes ago, right? The only difference here is, other than the fact sheet, it has now has a menu sheet and an orders sheet. The setup is exactly the same. The AI agent, the system prompt is a little different, where I'm saying that your Vasu, the friendly and highly efficient parcel delivery manage for Achu's biryani delivery. Your restaurant is a delivery only kitchen, okay, and you have a Google Sheet. That's your primary tool, and these are the tabs and rows. So you have your menu tab. This is a single source of truth. Your a critical rule, which is you must not accept an order for any item that is not explicitly not listed on this menu. So for example, if you wanted to order a pizza, it should not take that order if it's not on the menu. Okay, so that's essentially what I'm telling is. Then you have the fact tab, which contains all static information. What are the restaurant timings, the payment methods, delivery radius, support information, etc., etc. And then there's the orders tab. So this is a tab you must update with every new confirmed order. You're responsible for gathering all necessary information to fill in a new row for each order, right? And this is an example workflow. Greeting: you must start every new conversation with a polite and warm namaste. What would you like to order? Proceed to display the menu items with the price. Taking the order, politely ask the customer what they would like to order. Refer only to the menu tab to confirm items pricing. Do not display the menu for each and every subsequent conversation. Now I had to put this in because if I did not put this in, each and every conversation would be appended with a menu, which is a little bit annoying. So it's explicitly asked to just display the menu once, accept orders based on the menu number of the item. So there's no need for the customer to actually name the whole thing. So for example, if they wanted something like, say, mutton biryani half, there's no need for the customer to say I want a mutton biryani half. They could just say I want item number 4. That's it. All right. And then the order confirmation. Once the order is finalized, repeat the complete list of ordered items and the total bill amount to the customer, right? And the information gathering, ask the customer, confirms after the customer confirms the order and price, you must ask for the following three pieces: full name, phone number, complete delivery address. Encourage to include a landmark. Update the sheet and sign off once the order is fully confirmed and all details are collected. You must sign off with this exact three-part structure: a witty food-related joke. Okay, that makes it more human. Jokes always makes it more human. A request for a positive Google review. Yes, and these are your guiding principles. Always be polite, accuracy is the key, follow the workflow, right? Simple enough. You have three tools very similar to what we had done previously. Now let's try running this. Okay, let's do this. Great. So it has referred the menu and it has brought us back. Namaste. Yeah, we are asked it to start with Namaste. What would you like to order today? Here is our menu. So it gives the menu and the prices, the whole menu. Please tell me the number, the item number or names you would like to order. So I'll just say I would just like, let us see. So I'll just like the special Maharaja biryani and I'll have a lassi. So that is, sorry, use 8 and 13. Let's have a mango lassi, right? Sounds good. Let's see how it responds. Total amount. Please confirm your order. right? So let me just ask it, what is your refund policy? Okay. Okay, regarding refund policy, please call a made up number. And then it's asking, will you please confirm your order of special Maharaja biryani, mutton, and lassi totaling INR? Okay, let me just ask what all payments options, payment options, okay, do you have? Let's annoy it a bit. So, okay, we accept payments via GPay on the number and cash on delivery as well. So again, it's asking, please confirm your order of special Maharaja. It's an insistent, stubborn agent, isn't it? Okay, let's confirm it. So I'll just say confirmed. Right, thank you. May I please have your full name? Thank you for confirming. Please may I have your full name? Okay, it repeated it twice. I don't know why, but that's fine. So I'll just say my full name is Don Bosco, and Don Bosco. Yeah, just ask me your full name. Yeah, please current phone number. Okay, right. I'll give it a phone number. I'll give it a made-up phone number. Share your complete delivery address, including any landmarks. So I'll just say Key Lovers Lane, Romeo Park. Okay, just type the name. Cat Call Avenue. Okay, near Romeo Park. Romeo Park. Okay, it's just made up, guys. So I'm expecting this address to be captured in our client record. So yeah, so your order has been placed successfully. Here's a little food joke for you. Why did the chicken join the band? Because it had the drumsticks. Okay. Please order again, and if you enjoyed your biryani, do leave us a positive Google review for Achu's biryani delivery. It worked exceptionally well. Just let me check out the Google sheet. Yep, there you go. The order number one, customer name, customer phone number, items ordered, total amount, and the customer address. Everything captured exactly as we asked it to. Brilliant. I really hope you enjoyed this session and you learned something interesting and fun. Next session we'll try to build upon this. So consider this as a basement. Okay, so on our next session, what I'll try to do is I'll try to include multimedia processing. So essentially, I'll process images, documents using Waha API, WhatsApp, and our n8n workflow. I'll combine the receptionist, the Stella agent that we created, with this new workflow, which essentially would pass over the diagnostic reports over to a pathologist, AI pathologist, who would then diagnose it and send back a more detailed report. So that is for the next session. So till then, adios.